to the Dynasty Deal Show. I'm Ty at Ty Declare 44. I'm joined by Scott at Charles Chill FFB and Shane at Shane Says FF on X. Yes, you are here live with us Friday nights, 9 p.m. Eastern. If you can't be here live, the show gets posted early. You can get your trades in there early if you are a member of the Trades and Chill tier. $3.99 a month gets you live access to the show and everything else that DD Fantasy Football has going in this membership. Drop those sweatpant emojis in the chat if you're part of the crew here. Gentlemen, you know the deal. I got one rule on these shows, and if you hear not that noise, if you hear this noise, means you got to wrap it up, move on to the next one. But it's the 11th hour, gentlemen. It is coming on week 14, playoffs right around the corner. We have a 1 week shootout. See if your teams can actually make it into the show. It is an exciting week. There's directional deals happening across all of our leagues, and we know that the good members of GDFFB have brought the deal. So we're not going to faff around. Shane, I'm going to start with you here. On a 12-team start 9, Superflex, 0.5 tight end premium. We got Allen, Stafford, Brissett, Achane, Chase Brown, Dowdle, Spears, Jamar Chase, Terry McLaurin, Godwin, Keenan, Jennings, Kittle, Fannin, Jawan. We traded Hendo, BTJ, and a 28 first. We got Gibbs and a 26 third. 12 by 9, my friend. This team is 11-2, pushing in the chips. Is it a good deal or is it too much? I'm sure it felt real good last night to see that 30-plus points of Gibbs in your lineup. But how do you feel there? 12 by 9. Hendo, a BTJ in a first, or Gibbs in a third?
I mean, 12 by 9, there's almost not too much ever. It's, I don't want to say it's rare, but it's nice that people just acquiesce when you have too much stuff and you're just like, here, let me just throw a bunch of things at you and you can give me the most elite running back in the league. Sure, we could have done something else, I guess, with Hendo and BTJ, although if you just take away BTJ's name, what really is he? A wide receiver 6 this year? I don't even think he's a wide receiver 5. I don't know what he is. He's not good this year. Sure, you might what's the word I'm looking for? You might regret it if, BTJ bounces back next year when he's in Kansas City or New England or wherever it is that he's going to be. But I'm really not worried about that now. I think your team's deep enough that, yeah, you probably did pay too much, but your team can absorb that, and it's 12 by 9. So if I'm going to pay too much, it's going to be in a league like this.
Yeah. Scott, talk to me about 28 first. Shane, you may be able to tell if it's a real year or not, but does the year matter when it's not 26 or 27? You're looking at 2028. Are you putting a less of a premium on those picks because they're so far out?
No, I mean, it's a 12 by 9. We already have Josh Allen. We already have Achane. We already have Jamar Chase. So you're basically just going for any of like a dozen players in the league, and you got one. You caught a big fish on the hook here. Now, every time you do a move like this, I'm guessing we traded our 28, so we've probably already traded our 27 and our 26. We usually don't go to 28 if you have like a 26 laying around. You know what I mean? So I'm guessing we've probably already borrowed from the future quite a bit here. So every time you do that, you're just making yourself a little more fragile and a little more fragile. And there are some replacement level players on this team that I'd probably turn around and try to recoup some of the value. If anything, going into next year and the year after, obviously I need Allen, Achane, Chase, and Gibbs to kind of remain my anchors, at least through another season or two. They need to carry me through. But what I'm going to need is I'm going to need to find the next Keenan Allen, the next Jawan Jennings, the next Rico Dowdle. And you're probably not going to do that by having the old versions. So I don't know when the trade deadline is. He doesn't necessarily say like he can't trade, through the playoffs or whatnot, but like, I don't hate a couple moves here where I'm trading. Can I get a second for Terry McLaurin? Can I move Jawan Jennings and another piece for a second? Like, can I just liquidate those guys? I don't need them. I'll live with basically whatever I have to flex. Even in a 1-5, if I have to throw Fannin or Jawan Johnson in there, that's better than not taking a pick for somebody that I was maybe starting over them. That's what I'm trying to do here, Ty. Like, I'm trying to give myself a little more flexibility next year, not because I think I can upgrade seconds and thirds into other hammers. It's because I'm going to need to surround those 4 hammers with just 5 trending positively players. whatever that is from week to week, year to year. And I just don't want to just sit on my roster and go, well, most of these guys will be good next year. We have some players that I look at and go, can we really count on Keenan Allen next year? Chris Godwin next year? Tajay Spears for another year? I mean, we haven't really counted on them this year. So to say next year they'll just be in the range where they're playable, just get a little more flexibility. But I don't hate the trade. This is what it costs to get a hammer and a start 9, and you traded 2 declining assets at the moment and a pick 3 years away for one of the best 3 or 4 players in the entire sport. So I'm good with the deal. Just other moves to be made.
It is shallow. That is the price. This is the deal to get into a guy like Gibbs. But Scott, what else, like you mentioned, probably doesn't have his 26 or his 27. They're probably already out the door. What I don't want to do is make a similar deal like this for BTJ when he's at the hype of his hype, and Hendo at the rookie draft, and make this kind of deal to get into that asset. And then as soon as things aren't going right, now package that stuff up and do it again. That just, it might not be repeatable. So you got to choose your shots correctly. Now Gibbs, that's a very precise shot in my opinion. So I like it, but you just got to be careful. Don't keep, paying the Pied Piper all the way down the line there if you can. But yeah, we got some good people in the house. We got Vapad dropping sweatpants. Yeah, got to advance those underdog teams. It is it is a big week in fantasy football. Well, not great, Bob. Brian Creed, if time permits, can we get some salary cap league discussion on deals?
Oh yeah.
No.
Yeah. Put them out there. Put the salary cap league trades in there. Me and Scott and Mike Conrad made a trade today, didn't we? Did we actually ever make it?
Well, here's actually what happened, Ty. Shane employed a co-manager who then made 4 trades, and I'm not sure Shane even saw what they were. He might have seen them, but they were 4 trades in the matter of about 10 minutes. So.
Absolutely aware of every one of them.
He's the CPA of the team, so he's keeping track of all the contracts.
The silent partner, I think.
I told you that. I'm the silent majority partner. That's what
he's the angel donor.
He's the absentee landlord that just hopes shit's not burning down when he's not there.
We also got Sean. What's up, Sean? What's up, Rich Child? Rich Hild 63. What up, man? Jeffrey Jacobs, no Jingleheimer Schmidt, but Jeffrey Jacobs. We got a 12-team Superflex PPR 0.5 tight end premium start 10. The lineup is currently Josh Allen, Jaden Daniels, Achan, Harvey, Rashee Rice, J-Mo, Parker Washington, Brock Bowers, Bretton Strange, Darren Waller, Pollard, Reed are the next best options. You know what, Jeffrey? I might have come to you. Oh, that was for your question 2 above. Okay, let's scroll up here. Okay, bang. I could use a wide receiver scoring help. Should I send the 212 for Shakir, who is not consistent? I'm in a race for the playoffs. Is Shakir a wide receiver I can use next season? Scott, we've been talking a lot this week on shows about like the usability of some of these receivers that maybe you previously would have called roster cloggers or kind of those fringe guys in your roster construction bubble, but you're playing a little more fast and loose and playing a little more to what how the wide receiver position is scoring. Talk to me a little bit about that, and just talk about some wide receiver scoring help these late seconds. Any targets that come to mind?
I mean, I don't mind the saving up a second to go buy a receiver that you think you need. I mean, you do the analysis on whether you think you need a receiver. If he says I need to get another one, then I'm fine doing it. There's probably other guys I'd prefer over Shakir. I mean, if you just look at Trinity, I mean, he's pretty underwhelming. He's averaging 10.6 points per game this year. There are many receivers that are in the same range. He's also not trending positively. I know he was injured for a little while and hasn't been consistent like he said, but yeah, the second part of the question is what throws me off. Is he usable next year? Yeah, but you know who's usable next year? Like 50 other receivers. So you know what's not attached to Khalil Shakir? Any sort of surety, safety, potential growth. Like he literally, you're just hoping that he survives in a similar role and it runs hotter during a stretch next year when you may need to start him. But that's it. There is no, he'll bounce back or the offense will just get so much better and he'll double his production. Like he kind of just a destination player, which I'm fine buying something like that if you need it. But I also I wouldn't be shocked in some leagues. I mean, I know we play in a lot of leagues that are super deep. But if you're in like a 25-man roster leagues, like there's guys on waivers that I would take the same as Shakir.
Mm-hmm.
So depending on the depth, I mean, if there's, think of guys like Mac Hollins. He's in a good offense. You know what I mean? There's no consistency there. He's going to have one good game every 4 or 5. But like that kind of player's on waivers. And so there's a difference between getting Shakir for a second and getting whatever I can get for free. So I'd probably shop around. I mean, can I buy a 14 point per game receiver, Shane, with a second and plus something else? Maybe. I don't know. But I think this is a spot where you don't even have to pay a second. And if you do, I'd be probably shopping for a player that's hotter. Can I get like Jacoby Myers for a second? Can I get somebody that's part of a better offense and fish there? I'd rather have Parker Washington if I knew he was going to play.
No.
Michael Wilson, can I get him if I know Marv's going to miss a couple weeks? Can I get, I don't know, DJ Moore? You know what I mean? Like there's plenty of other names I would go for that are in better situations. That would be the contention on Shakir.
Well, here, Shane, maybe
DJ Khaled.
DJ, we the best. Maybe this is a bit of an example there, because remember, Scott, in one of the like trade template podcasts you put out, last off season, right, is using one of those perceived late first split into 2 usable assets. So sent Mac Jones, who, if you have Mac Jones, I've had more knocks on the door for a Mac Jones who isn't scoring me any points than I thought I would. Mac Jones in 112 for JMO and Parker Washington. He was starting Tez Johnson Shaheed at wide receiver 2-3. Do you feel like getting JMO and Parker Washington an upgrade over that? Does that create a little bit of like a jam up in your lineup? Like, how do you feel there, Shane?
Is JMO and Parker Washington an upgrade over Mac Jones in the 112? He's dying for wide receivers. He's dying for points. I mean, it probably felt okay last night, right? JMO dropped, I don't know what he dropped. He had a good game. He had a really good game. I'm okay with it because the 112 really doesn't matter much to me. It's basically a second, which is what I always say about the 112 when it's convenient for me. And when it's not, I say that it's a first. I'm okay with it. I don't really care about Parker Washington. I traded for him in a couple leagues, but just like as a throw-in, that's all he is. Like I know Scott was just talking about him, but he's literally like a guy that's going to probably disappear in 2 years. Like we're never going to think about him again.
Well, but here's the thing. 6 weeks ago, Tez Johnson and Rashid Shaheed were giving you everything you wanted from those streaming receiver spots. A month later, unplayable. So I'm not saying JMO's on that level, but if this type of deal is any sort of example of how you're going to play this forward, you know what I never want to put myself in a position to do again? Pay a first to fix this kind of spot. What you need to do is you need to roster 10 Rashid Shaheeds and Tez Johnson.
But he doesn't right now. He's asking about right now.
Correct. But going forward, instead of dump the guys when, like right now, if someone said what you want for Rashid Shaheed, there isn't a single person in Dynasty who would even trade for him. Because they're like, he's buried on Seattle. He's getting 1 target a game. It's a terrible offense to be a part of. But you know what? He's equivalent to like Khalil Shakir, just not right now. But week 8 next year, you might be going, damn, man, Rashid Shaheed, have you seen this usage on his new team? The Patriots or whatever it is, and he's very startable. So it really comes down to, I'm not saying this is a good or bad trade. I think it was the trade he probably had to make right now. And I didn't hate going after JMO. If you thought Amon-Ra was going to be compromised for a couple games, JMO is a pretty good bet to be a secure asset to a degree, and he could have had some upside over the next couple games. But just learn from this deal and don't put yourself in the position next year to where you're not going to have a high enough quality at receiver, most likely. You're not going to be able to get to a high quality spot overnight. So lean into the quantity, you know what I mean? And push the value somewhere else on your roster. That's the only learning lesson here is like, if you're going to stream receiver to this degree and you're going to be putting some gross ones in your lineup, you got to roster more of them. You got to be able to ride out the low points of Tez Johnson or Rashid Shaheed. They're not terrible players. Parker Washington's not a terrible player, but as soon as he's not usable, he's a 0. He's literally a guy you could cut and nobody would even think twice.
I'm definitely more apt to this deal in like a 35-man roster league, because all of those players, you're not finding those guys on waivers, right? So that is more the cost. But I agree. If I can maneuver in ways that stops me from needing to make a move like this, and instead maybe reacting when someone else needs to make a move like that, I like that better. But
just throw a blanket on the parade here. No one wants to make trades. No, literally, no one wants to have to give up assets to add players to their roster. Like I trade about a billion times a day. You know why? Because I fucked up somewhere and I need to fill a hole. It's that simple, or it's not strong enough for me, or I just have a compulsion issue, which is probably that's probably a lot of it. But generally, you don't trade to fill a hole that doesn't exist, right? And the holes don't exist on purpose. You're always going to have a hole in your roster for the most part, unless you're Ruben in his home league where everybody trades him everything, and he's got like, if Malik Neighbors wasn't injured, he'd be sitting on his bench because his roster's too stacked. Those rosters are few and far between, but you're generally always going to have some hole. It's just, do I want to give this up to fill that hole? Is JMO, to Scott's point, is JMO any better than? Well, is he any better than? Well, you got Parker Washington in the deal. I don't know what other wide receivers you had on your roster. You know what I mean? Like if you had a Jacoby Myers, you probably wouldn't move up from Jacoby to JMO, right? You wouldn't want to have to pay a first for that trade-off. You would just say, well, let me hold on to Jacoby, or not let me hold on to Jacoby, but I'm okay with running Jacoby out there. So he probably just, yes, it's the volume. He should add volume next year, more wide receivers. But you could still pick wrong. You know what I mean? Like we've all done this with zero RB, right? Where we've had 15 running backs on our roster, and guess what? Not one of them was the correct one. And you have other rosters where it's just you hit the nuts. Every one of them, it ends up being a starter. Same with the quarterback situation.
Well, Kai, one more point time before we get the old sounder. It's a start 10 with 35-man rosters, which means that the back 20 roster spots on that league are just going to be, there's going to be no rhyme or reason for what most people are holding. People are going to be rostering any running back, any quarterback, any receiver. Hell, probably 5 teams, 5 tight ends per team on that league because it's like, well, there's nothing else to roster. So that's where you're tough. It's going to be hard to go the other way and build like an elite core of receivers because it's just how valuable are the bottom 10, 15, 20 roster spots. And I think the easiest way to attack that, you can probably, roster 15 receivers and just hope they can get you through. And the focus would be, how do you fix it going forward? Draft quarterbacks, draft running backs, like build the construction the other way and just bank that you're going to have to play in these waters at receiver for a little while.
Yeah. Like this kind of a wide receiver room in a not start 35, but a 35, roster team. That makes sense. But Scott, you nailed it there at the end, right? The point is not to dissipate your wide receivers, just have a bunch of tickets. It's to build the construction around them where you can play in those waters. That means your quarterback construction is correct. Your running backs are strong. If you play like Ty Declare, your tight ends are strong, and it makes those wide receiver lottery tickets fit better with your lineup. And a guy like JMO, who when he does pops big, that really makes sense. So, that the more layers you shed there, I like it. And just because he called it out, I'll hit an old sounder and we'll move on. All right, let's hit up the old banner. Let's go to VAPAT. 12 teams start 11, super flex. It's a 0.15 point per carry, and a 2.0 tight end premium, a 1.25 running back, or I'm assuming that's a running back per something. So running back score.
I think it's just running back premium. So maybe an extra point or 0.25 per catch is the way I would put it.
I think it's just you get a premium for every running back you have.
Yeah, roster included.
I think it's 1.25 per running back catch is the way I would interpret it.
That's the Scott Connor League where you get points for roster construction at the gate before the game's even started. This is a rebuilding roster with now has Jaden Daniels, Penix, Shador, Gabriel backups. We got Mixon, Taji. We got Neighbors, Ladd, Olave, JMO, Quentin Johnston, Fannin, and Higbee. Give Bucky Irving a 26 second to get a 27 first. Another one, same league, give Kirk Cousins, get Gabriel and Brashard Smith. So those 27 first, they are gold. They are a dime a dozen, Shane. So again, a 12 team start 11 with a 1.15 PPC running back bonus. Is Bucky in a second to get a 27 first?
Yeah, I mean, maybe you could turn that 27 first into Bucky. I don't see the point of it. I guess he's out of it clearly, right? Look, I'm past the
Shane,
days.
talk about this. We talked about this on the morning drive. Remember what we talked about on the morning drive?
That's a long time ago, Scott.
This was
Long time ago.
13 hours ago. But I think what Vapad's doing here, his team's tanking. So what did he just do? He dumped a young running back at 70% on the dollar because he's afraid of the what?
Injuries.
What did we talk about this morning?
Sure.
Man, those running backs that are good now,
value.
there's no way they will be good in 2028, Ty. There's no way they can be good in 2 years. Meanwhile, we looked at the top 15 running backs from 2020. And 9 of them are still like starting today. So either they're just crazy good from back then
but hold on. And it wasn't that they were just starting. They were like top 12 running backs, top 15 scoring running backs. Like they
a lot of them are still
value.
good. What was your take, Shane? If you're very good today, you'll probably be very good in like 3 years. You won't be on the street.
Their outliers remain outliers, right? Like that's one of the truest things that I've ever found in life, right? You can't look at outliers, people that are outliers, and attach the normal models to them because they've already broken those molds. Jahmyr Gibbs, that's an outlier. Todd Gurley, if his knees didn't fall apart, would have been an outlier. You know what I mean? CMC, he's an outlier. But then when I look at players like maybe Kyron Williams, he's probably not an outlier, but he'll still be good enough to be in the league. So he'll probably be a low end running back 1 in 2-3 years, or a high end running back 2. But there's absolutely Bucky is closer to that, and I'm not saying he is. He's closer to that, and it's another one I forgot this morning. There was a couple ones that said I should have added, but Bucky is closer to that Jahmyr Gibbs tier than he is, I would say, probably the Kyron Williams tier if I had to make a decision on him. And why? Because he's a really excellent pass catcher when given the opportunity.
But you know who was still starting this year before he got injured? Austin Eckler, Aaron Jones. You know what I mean? Like the careers are not like a really steep mountain, Ty, where it's like you get to the top and then the bottom is just completely the bottom. So it kind of feels like this was, I mean, I want to get your opinion because we've already talked about the 27 firsts are going to be impossible to get. If you let this go to the offseason and Bucky doesn't finish strong, you probably aren't even getting a 27 first for Bucky because it's like, he's just another day 3 running back. He's okay, but he's not great. I'm not giving up my precious 27 first for him. But it kind of feels like this was desperation to just get a 27 first. Doesn't it feel that way?
Yeah, because you mentioned before about, well, if you're a rebuild or you're doing that, to rid yourself of the risk, maybe get points. Like that does feel like a little late in the day to be making that move. Like at this point, you've made your table. I agree. 27 firsts are only going to get more and more and more difficult to acquire. But I don't think a guy of like the Bucky Irving level of running back, like that's the range that I do want to bet on. And that's a change in how I used to play because I used to be I will put like no value into running backs. I just want any running back on a 53. I'll piece it all together. But slowly I've started to think, I need in my construction to feel good, to feel more flexible in my offseason decisions, in my trade decision, is to have a guy that I can trust, like a Bucky, like a Saquon last year. But again, like with Saquon, those values do change. So it's a risk. But even a guy like Bucky, he's one of those few that actually does have some of that sex appeal and flexibility, even with that. I don't want to trade Bucky and a second to get the chance to take another Bucky, in a couple years. I think I would rather build around the Bucky. And then it's not like we're going to go into next season and Bucky isn't going to be valuable, especially in training camp. Like that's when the spike should come back up. So I want to practice patience. And I feel like I'd rather find my ways in a 27 first elsewhere than giving up an asset like a Bucky. If you're telling me that's 27-101, sure. But how clearly can we actually bet on projecting 27 first right now anyways? So I don't know. The more I talk about it, just the less I feel more confident in what I have versus the mystery box, the 27 first. I don't know. We've seen all year is our expectations of the 26 class of players. They flip, they change. Like, just give me what I know right now and what I know people like. I'm not expecting to go to 0 in the offseason, even if he has a rough end of the year.
No. Good. Sorry, I don't want to belabor it.
Yeah. But we'll come back to you. I know we got a couple other ones in the hopper there from you. Hey, shout out to Fire Pokemon cards. Became a YouTube member right on. We'll start ripping packs on here live for the people.
Let's rip some NFL card packs. Let's go.
Nice.
Anyway.
Yeah. If I got some more trades, pop them in the chat. We'll hit as many as we can tonight. Just like Exemplar FF gave us a best ball 12 team start 11. It is a 2 tight end premium and a 0.25 point per carry. Woo woo. Baker, Dart, Hampton, Barkley, Hall, ETN, Woody, Aaron Jones. We got Devontae Adams, Diggs, Quentin Johnston, Jacoby, Alec Pierce, Godwin, Shaheed, and any wide receiver on a 53, Scott. Kittle, Njoku, and Ertz. The trade deadlines this week. This team is 8-5, and it's the 4th seed. They have 326 first in the back pocket. 2 of them are first, and the other is currently the 104. Trade McCarthy for ETN this week, and he lost Flacco, so he's a little short at quarterback. I was just pause there before we have another slide coming up there. What do you think of that first one? Traded McCarthy for ETN this week.
Man, we talk about all the time.
Your mic's a little fuzzy there, Scott.
Better now?
No.
No.
Absolutely not.
Shane, go ahead.
All right. Trade deadline is week 8. Nope. Trade deadline is this week. Okay. 8-5 in the 4th seed. Have 3 firsts, 2 playoffs. One is currently the 104. ETN. It's ETIE.
Is it better now?
Yes.
Shane was not prepared to answer.
I got this. Reach the question.
Just, Shane, I'll kick it to you. And then you're like, wait a second. I was completely zoned out when he was
anyway, which question?
JJ McCarthy or ETN?
Let me say this. I don't care what format it is, when the trade deadline is, what my team situation is. If it's a quarterback bonus league where I only get half points for everything running backs do, I would take ETN over McCarthy. Absolutely. McCarthy serves no purpose on a best ball roster. He's never going to hit your lineup. No, he'll go out there and just ball out. But I doubt that he's going to hit your lineup at any time between now and the end of the season.
So let's talk through this one, Ty, because this is a fair trade. Yeah. You can't shit on McCarthy and go, oh, he's not worth anything close to a first. Nobody thinks he is, right? No, he's probably worth us. Yeah. He probably is worth a second-ish. Depends on the manager. Most of the time, it's just the manager doesn't want to part with him for a second, so there's no trades for that level. But there's nobody paying a first. ETN and a point per carry is at least worth a second. Mm-hmm. I mean, he's a good asset down the stretch. He probably outscores McCarthy. Here's my struggle here. It is best ball. We don't know all the other specs. I think with best ball, it's very important to know how active it is, what's on waivers. Because you know what, there probably isn't somebody on waivers that can replace what JJ McCarthy could be. And even if he just becomes Bryce Young, that's usable in best ball. In a lineup league, I have no problem just getting rid of him. I can work around not having him. I already have Dart and Baker. I can roster some backups. I can change my construction at quarterback very easily in a lineup. In a best ball, we know how valuable it is, especially like going into the start of a season, having that stable of quarterbacks. So I don't know if I'm doing this, but I could also sell myself on doing this if the backup QB market was robust. I could go buy a Cousins or a Tyrod or a Brissett, and it wouldn't cost me anything other than a third and a player. Like that's where I can go, you know what? I have Dart, I have Baker. As long as I have access to those backup QB markets, Ty, I don't need a QB3 going into the offseason. I'm definitely getting the piece for the stretch that can help me win the playoffs with ETN right now. So I'm okay with this if some of those other things are true. I don't know how you do a lot of best ball. You've had these conversations in your head, like, I don't really want to trade my stable of quarterbacks, but how many best ball teams have you had, Ty, where you already have 3 quarterbacks? And it's Tyrod for a third, and you're like, damn, I can get 6 starts out of Tyrod, but I don't need the Tyrod right now. I've tried to trade you quarterbacks before, and you're like, sorry, bro, I already have 4. I don't need another one. So what are your thoughts? Because I think this is not just a player-for-player question. This is more of a how do you adjust if you take either side?
Well, I mean, a couple of things at play, right? So it's a 12-team league. So one, I'm just going to bet they are actually going to be those backup quarterbacks, or, there's going to be a deal for a quarterback I can find. It's not a no trade deadline league. And Scott, we've seen in those leagues, especially in these best ball ones, you can find backup quarterbacks that have spot starts easily. But I imagine even in a league like this, you can still find that at the trade deadline, people trying to get rid of those Tyrods, trying to get rid of those spot starters right here, right now. But yeah, man, I mean, you have a team of Baker and Dart. So you're trading your QB3 and JJ McCarthy, who has not met expectations for Travis Etienne, who would be your 8th usable running back in best ball. And that in a 0.25 point per carry, that is where I want to be heavy on a contending roster, is at the running back position. And Scott, on those rosters, man, yeah, like I'm trying to hit a certain number of starting quarterbacks. If I can have one quarterback that can get me elite points, cool. But really, I just want to be robust. I don't need a 4th, a 5th quarterback if I have a good enough quarterback in the stable. But JJ McCarthy can move, man. I'm looking at JB's tiers. He has ETN a tier above JJ McCarthy, and so like it's not far off value wise at all. And especially in this league, man, yeah, I would rather make this deal, go send something, get Tyrod. And then I feel really, really good about where this team is heading into the next week. Now, Shane, I know you've been dipping your toe into best ball, right? So he also made 2 more deals. Oh, yeah, 2 more offers at least. Dart 104 and 205 for Josh Allen, or 104 for Chase Brown. Are either of those trades worth considering going into the playoffs?
I feel like the 104, 205 and Dart is a little much for Josh Allen. How many starters was it?
11.
I'm probably not going to do that. I don't love giving up the 104 for Chase Brown either. There was no the trade deadlines this week.
Yeah.
Damn it.
I love that deal. If I can get a second piece with that Chase Brown, even just name a wide receiver 5, I'm okay with that deal. Point per carry.
Yeah, I guess get something added to it and then do it. Because my first default is like, oh, well, let's see how deep you get into the playoffs. And then if you really need it in the second week of the playoffs, but you can't go to that default, you got to get to that second week. So it's fine. I hate giving up early draft picks for Chase Brown's been smashing, although Samaj P. Ryan came back and immediately took like a 38% snap and work share. So I will say Chase Brown might disappoint a little bit compared to what he's done this year, but he smashed this year. So even if he disappoints a little, it's probably 17 points a game, which still ain't bad.
Yeah. And Scott, really quick, for all the reasons we mentioned before, I'm probably not wanting to package up Dart 104 and 205 just to climb the ladder to Josh Allen, when it feels like I can maybe find those that construction elsewhere, use that value in a bit more of an economical way versus kind of packaging it all up here.
Yeah, and don't you think it's important just to learn from that Dart 104 offer? In best ball, the value of having Dart plus even a 3rd quarterback, like I'd almost rather send the 104 and 205 for Justin Herbert, something like, you know what I mean? Like if I can get a 3rd guy like that, that gives me so much more flexibility to just
roster more running backs, roster more wide receivers.
Always focus on anything, but I'm out of the backup quarterback market. Let everybody else pay the 3rds for Tyrod and Mariota. I'll pay the 3rds for Chris Rodriguez, those types. And it gives you relief of having to always chase everything.
Yeah. Sean's giving it to us. JGM for E10. No, thank you. I can't sell quarterbacks and superflex that cheap. I mean, come on. A-Rich held more value for longer.
Are you talking about what's that person's name? JJ McCarthy?
Yes.
You're getting a legit asset for JJ McCarthy. That's not low. What do you think Travis Etienne's worth if you were to convert it into a draft pick? I bet you it's a 1st in points.
You know what's funny about Travis Etienne? I think people still view him, and this is back to the conversation we had with Vapad a couple questions ago. People view Travis Etienne like his career is going to be over after this year. It's on thin ice. Like he's the guy you look up, and in 2029, he's still Aaron Jones. You're like, how the hell did he hold on to be a starter for 5 more years? But like, that's the thing, is like, there's a world where Travis Etienne just outlasts JJ McCarthy, which is wild. But if you don't think Shane, do you think JJ McCarthy's good? Like, if you don't think he's good, he's getting into like backup territory very quickly. You know what I mean? Within a year or less.
Yeah. And look, here's the thing. JJ McCarthy could bounce back. Do you think JJ McCarthy is going to be an asset that's not viable though? So is JJ McCarthy going to be Josh Allen, Jalen Hurts, Jaden Daniels, Drake May, whoever I'm forgetting?
If he
Lamar
gets
Jackson
to the level of like, if he gets to Trevor Lawrence level, you'd be doing backflips, wouldn't you? If he just gets there.
Yep.
And that's a quarterback people are like, I would sell if someone gave me a 1st.
Yep.
So like that. You have to put this into context. Like you're hoping JJ gets somewhere between like Bryce Young and Trevor Lawrence. You feel like you've been rescued if he gets there.
Yep.
Yeah. For sure. I've changed my mind on the deal, but not my opinion of JJ. That's fine. Hey, we can all see things differently in Dynasty. This makes it beautiful. You can't speak on how best ball changes it though. And I think that's it for me, right? Is you have to be really mindful of what zeros you're carrying in best ball. JJ McCarthy, I mean, a decent zero to carry, all things considered. And I get it. It's probably going to be a lot harder to get a quarterback that could have the ceiling play of JJ McCarthy. But what have we seen to actually say that that is going to be the outcome so far? So just make your bets. And if you want to make that bet, now is probably a cheap time to make that bet. So go on and get it. All right. Well, thank you. We'll move on to Anthony West. Can't wait for this one. Well, thanks, buddy. He brought us a 12-team start 11 PPR super flex. It's a 0.5 tight end premium in a lineup league. Caleb, T-Law, Dart, Genty, Hendo, Harvey, Hampton, JSN and Rice, Ibuka, Rome, Hunter, Wandale, nice, Bowers and McBride, love to see it. Trade the 26, 102, 227 first, and a 27 second for Lamb and Chase Brown. Man, that's a hefty price chain.
Well, here's so I'm giving up how many first? Three including
first,
the
one
one
of which is 102, 227, and a second.
I mean,
it's almost 4 if you count the 102 being like more than 1, you know.
I mean, would you trade a 102 and a 27 first for CeeDee Lamb?
I mean, is he for sure playing with this concussion, or is it possible? You know what I mean? We don't know that, but
it's
that's a lot. That's a lot to pay. A guaranteed 102, as much as you may not need a quarterback, that's still going to hold.
Yeah.
Assuming Jeremiah Love goes 1, right? The 102 is going to be the first choice of anybody's receiver 1 or quarterback 1.
Mm-hmm.
It may not be a strong class, but in this type of class where it may not be strong after we get past pick 3, 4, 5, like 102 is going to be a powerful pick. So yeah, I'm not doing this too much.
And so even if you could get over that hump, right? So even if you told yourself, all right, the 102 and a 27 first, I'm fine with giving that up for CeeDee Lamb. That then means you're giving up a first and a second for Chase Brown, which it's like each of the deals, like in and of themselves, if you pull them apart, each of those deals is just a little too much. And when you put it together, it's just like too much for me to do. So I would pass on this and see what else I can do, because I could probably do a lot with 227 first, you know what I mean? Or just the 102, or at least I should
look at his team, Shane.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah, I mean, look,
we have no needs. We have eight of the top 25 players.
The running back, right? So if you wanted to go, all right, I can't deal with this Genty because his line is ass. I can't deal with Hendo because Mike Vrabel is a rockhead. I can't deal with Harvey because Sean Payton is also a rockhead. Okay, add a first to one of those dudes and see what you can do. Can you get to a chain if you really want to spend? Can you get to a chain? Shit, can I give you Harvey and Hendo and you give me a chain for that and I hold on to my picks? Whatever. However you want to go about it. There's a lot of different choose your own adventures here, paths that you can go without giving up 3 firsts. And one of those being the 102.
Yeah. This almost feels like that thing. Like my team doesn't have holes. So what do? Let's tier up at wide receiver. Let's just go get that guy, which fine. Like it's not like you're getting to an asset that's not going to have likely sustained dynasty value in someone like a CeeDee Lamb. But I mean, I think I'd rather just keep the picks and the fun tickets and, you know, keep that flexibility that way. Cause yeah, you are not losing really at many parts of that team. So yeah, Anthony, I would hold on to those picks, but yeah, even in 2 seed active league, I'm still, especially in an active league, I want to keep those picks around. That's what people are going to want more so than thinking that they can come up and hit for CeeDee Lamb. Let's hit another Vapad one. 14 teams, start 9, super flex, tiered PPR. It's a 0.5 running back, 0.75 wide receiver, and a 1.0 tight end premium. It's a 4-2 passing scoring and a 0.15 point per carry. The team is currently second and basically just needs to win to secure the bye. Need a quarterback this week since Bryce is on bye. So the team is now Lamar, Bryce, Kirk, backups, CMC, Henry, Hunt, Monungai, Cans. Start a maximum of 3 of them. Puka, Rice, Christian Watson, Keenan, QJ, and so many cloggers, McBride and Mason Taylor. So the deal. Give Jaden Higgins and a 27 second for Derrick Henry and Kirk Cousins. It feels like people are just kind of throwing away that Derrick Henry. I think it's kind of, so I guess speaks to running back, I guess. But I mean, Scott, Kirk Cousins, very usable the rest of the way here. Derrick Henry, I guess disappointing, but still Derrick Henry. Jaden Higgins in a 26-second. How do you feel they're in a 14-9 with this team?
It's a fair trade. I like Jaden Higgins. Ray and I've talked about him on the Trinity for quite a few weeks in a row. So I think he's a pretty good asset. He's not worth a first, but he's probably worth a second, maybe more to the team that has him, and you give up another second. But I think the key thing is here is you played this week to week. Your team is right in the thick of things. You needed a quarterback, so you traded for Cousins. You can use him for one more week, but when Bryce is my QB2, I'm okay with Cousins having him around the rest of the year. I can play the matchups between those two. And then in a point per carry, you did act Derrick Henry, who could be a difference maker. Could not be, but if you told me there's going to be one guy in this trade that gives me multiple 20-point games or more and a point per carry, it's not going to be Jaden Higgins. And even given the format and given the fact that he already says he has a lot of roster clogger receivers, this is the type of team, Ty, I'm willing to trade away the Higgins because I already have guys like Christian Watson, Quentin Johnston. Like they're in the same mold as what I'm hoping Higgins is. Like I can start him. He's not terrible, but I can put somebody else in their spot because you're probably sitting a guy like Christian Watson to play Jaden Higgins or vice versa. So I think this was a solid trade. He addressed two needs, didn't pay terribly a ton to do it either, didn't dip into future picks. And that second is expanded further out in a 14-teamer. So I like it. Good trade.
Yeah, I agree. And I mean, I think you nailed it there too, right? Is even when I'm rostering all these wide receivers and maybe like playing a little more in mucky waters, that doesn't change the fact that if someone's not in my lineup and I can't trade them, what is their true value to my team? Is I don't want to overload on it. And if I can get value for these guys, yeah, sure, I'm going to throw them in. But if I can make that deal and that means that QJ finds his way into my lineup, even better for me. So I like this a lot, Vapad. Go get that Henry and he could be the difference maker down the stretch. Shane, I got a question here for you from our guy Dorf Does Fantasy, the 10-team start 11 Superflex PPR. He got offered JJ McCarthy and a third for RJ Harvey. Currently ranking 101 in 2026. His quarterbacks are May, Purdy, Shuck, Mac Jones, Kirk, and Mariota. The rest of the roster is pretty bare. On a 101 roster, JJ McCarthy and a third or RJ Harvey?
I'm still taking RJ Harvey. So, I mean, I'm a noted JJ McCarthy hater. So take that. Just keep that in mind with that. I'm already biased. I don't like him. I don't think he's good, and he hasn't shown me that for any reason to believe that he is. RJ Harvey, eventually, I keep saying this, eventually Sean Payton's going to give him like a full compliment. Now, though he did actually get most of the goal line work, and he did get a lion's shares of the rushing work last week, even though he wasn't actually efficient. So if he can add some efficiency to that, he's going to smash and his value is just going to go higher. And if I want a different quarterback, one that I've seen be good or is actually produced from fantasy perspective, maybe I could then move RJ Harvey for a real one.
Yeah. 10-team league. I'm just going to bet I can find what quarterback. It's not that scarce. And I feel like RJ Harvey's the one that can actually move a team forward there. 111 starters. You know what? We'll leave that one there. And because we're coming up on 15 minutes left here in the show. So we do want to keep it rolling. Make sure you hit that like button, folks, just like Jeffrey Jacobs says, or he'll come for you. So, thank you everyone that's tuned in so far. Hit that like button, drop those sweatpants in the chat. Scott, really quick, going back to just the conversation we were having a couple minutes ago. What are you trading for Jaden Higgins? Like, what is the price you're looking for?
It's a tough one because I think he's already proven enough, if you just look at his usage, to be in that range of I'm able to start him. Any format. Start 10, start 11. Obviously, the shallower it is, the weaker he is in my lineup. In a start 10, he's a lot weaker than he would be in a start 12. So you have to make the bet. Is he a guy that really ascends into a clear number 2? And is the offensive environment one that I'm very positive on? The reason we've talked him up is because I don't think he's any different than a few of the other rookie receivers out there that are also getting good usage. But I think I'm higher on his environment going forward than maybe some others. So I actually think Quentin Johnston, even though he showed more as a rookie than QJ, but not a lot. Like that's kind of the comparison of what you hope Jaden Higgins becomes. And that could be a really down year like last year. It could be a better year like this year. But I think if he lands in that range and you're like, he's a 950-yard receiver on a good offense, I'll take that. Unless Nico Collins just falls off. And now there is a world where the number one receiver on the Texans is not a guy you're like, oh, he's just going to be great for the next 5 years. You know what I mean? So I think there's some multi-pronged bets here with Jaden Higgins that makes him, can you get him for a second and another one of these receivers that is maybe a little older? Can I get him for a second? And here's a hot take one, a second in Cortland Sutton. Does that give me Jaden Higgins? Maybe I get even a third coming back, something like that.
Wait, what's the deal? I'm sending Cortland Sutton in a second for Jaden Higgins, or I'm sending...
No, I send Sutton or another comparable older receiver that's kind of already just flattened off where he is for Jaden Higgins. And maybe I get a running back back. Maybe I get a quarterback back. Like I can try to do the 2 for 2. I can try to do a third. And can I do a third and Terry McLaurin for Jaden Higgins? DJ Moore and a third, like something like that, where I don't even have to give up the second. Creative.
Yeah. Bet on people liking a 22-year-old receiver. I mean, I'm looking at JB's tiers right now. It's in the random 26, 27 range and that very flat range of all the wide receiver names that you're thinking of right now. So just know you're buying into that range, but make your bets appropriately. Jed Tatiano, all his leagues have trade deadlines. They've already passed. Enjoy the show. Well, we appreciate you, Jed. Thanks for showing up, and maybe we'll get you in a league that doesn't have a trade deadline. That would be fun. Mr. Jordan Jackson received a 28-second for Hunt. Did I sell low? Shane, Kareem Hunt, 28-second. I'm still taking that today.
Yeah, look, I take a 29-second. As long as it's in this decade, I'm still going to take it. I might even take a 20-30. You know what I mean? Like that's an NBA trade where I'm just stockpiling. Like, oh, the Sixers traded Andre Drummond for a 2037 8th round compensation pick. Yeah, I would do that. It's a second. It's got a second attached. Cool. I'll just bank it and I'll forget that it exists. And then next year, I'll probably use it to buy something else.
You want salary cap league talk? I'll do it for cash considerations, like whatever it takes. But
is there a world where you could stomach a second for Kareem Hunt, Ty? Like, would there ever be a place you'd be desperate enough? Because there's probably 50 players you would try to get before him. You know what I mean? You're a Chiefs guy.
Like, if I'm sitting there like Royal Rumble, like a big PPC 25-man raw, like I'm even thinking there, like, I don't know if I could pony up a second, or if I would have to knock on like every other door in the league and come back to this is the only deal I can get done, and I need to make a deal before I really pull that trigger.
Finals, and it's Monday night, and you're down 17, and you need a hope and a prayer to somehow win the chain like that. Right. That would have to be the extreme, desperate measure that I would take to give up something that says a second for Kareem Hunt.
100%. Well, speaking of something that says a second, what about in best ball? Are you giving up Christian Watson for a 28-second?
No.
Man, I can sell you on how this is not a bad investment, because they do have the offense where if you have a guy with his role specifically, he may not be more than a 12-point receiver going forward. But the way he gets his points are what I kind of do want in best ball. If you've told me I'm going to get 3 20+ point games a year, that's probably worth a second, assuming I can construct around it. So I hate doing this, Ned, but I'm okay with it. If you have any level of conviction, which typically is not my area of expertise, I don't hate it. If you really like Christian Watson, and this is what you want to spend your second on, it's not like you're buying a fledgling asset that isn't worth. This is not Kareem Hunt for a second, right? This is something I'm actually okay investing in.
Mm-hmm. Yep, and he didn't have to hold throughout the whole injury too. He came back and he's looked good, and now you can get him for that. So
I mean, he's come back and absolutely been their wide receiver one. Like he built his target share up, and I think he's had back-to-back weeks with like 30% target shares. Like he cucked Romeo Dobbs, who has just disappeared. Matthew Golden is so afraid of Christian Watson that he refuses to play football. So yeah, I'm fine with this. If this is what you're doing for your playoff run, I've spent seconds on much, much worse things than a wide receiver that can pop off.
Shane, I'm going to stick with you here from Fire Pokemon cards. 12 team start 10, no tight end premium. We got Cousins, Sanders, any quarterback on a 2 deep. We got Henderson, Harvey, Tootin, Wilson, Hunter, Ayuk. We got no tight ends to speak of. We have 3 firsts in 26 and 27. We got 4 and 28, but he has an offer on the table for the 101. He's currently going to get the 102, and the 101 manager trades him the 101 for a likely mid 26 first plus a 28 first. Should he trade the 101 for 106 and a 28 first?
All right. I'm trading the 102 and what? The 106?
You're trading the 10 trades. You are getting the 101. You're trading away 106 and a 28 first to do so.
Yes, I would do this. There's just a huge difference between 101 and 102 this year. It's a good deal for the guy that's doing the deal, but I'm willing to do it. Again, 28 just feels like it's not even a real year. The only reason I might not do it is like, do I really feel like paying dues for 26, 27, and 28 in 2025? I don't know. I don't know what the cash value, what's it? The cash value, time, money, something, the money's worth more today than it will be tomorrow or something like that. From that perspective, that first in 2028 is probably worth like a second right now. So yeah, I'm fine with it. If this is the deal you want to make to secure the rights to Jeremiah Love, or maybe a quarterback comes out of blue, I don't know, maybe Dante Moore takes Oregon to a national championship and just lights out, and all of a sudden he's the one, whatever. I'm fine with it.
Mathematically speaking, today's price definitely won't be tomorrow's price. Even if you want to bet on a class in general, I think that's a solid move to try to get into the elite tier of a class, because all we're going to talk about all off season is these tiers and how we're tiering guys, and 101 is always going to be at the top of that, and it's going to be at the top of our minds for the rest of the way. So Scott, TaylorMade also brought us something similar. So a 12-team start 10 PPR 0.5 tight end premium. May, Burrow, Shuck, Hampton, Judkins, Scadaboo, Neighbors, London, Tet, Hunter, Franklin, Gadsden, 104 and 106 and 327 first in the back pocket. He got offered 101 for his 104 and Judkins. Should he take that in a 12 by 10?
Honestly, if you really think Jeremiah Love is going to be the next Bijan, Saquon, Genty, the answer is probably yes. Maybe it's too early for you to say yes, that's a guarantee, but it's a fair trade. If he's on that level, and maybe it's just too early in the process to say he's for sure on that level. If so, it's a fair trade. The way I play, though, I probably want more information. It does feel like the 104 Judkins is what he is. I think he's a top 12 running back. I don't know what his ceiling is. Who knows if his situation will ever be better than it is. This does feel like a day, though, or a trade, though, where I can probably get this deal in March if I wanted. Because Judkins and the 104 aren't really going to go anywhere. The only way this trade completely blows up, Shane, is if this class is so bad that we're wondering, like at the 104, I'm getting a guy that wouldn't even have gone in the top 10 last year. If it gets to that level, then this is going to be a hard trade to pull off. But if it doesn't, I kind of feel like I can do this later. I don't have to commit to it on December 5th.
Yeah. 104, 183 first in the back pocket, too. I might just stick with 104 and Judkins and just bet.
Would you do the 1-6 tie?
Yeah, 1-6. Yeah, sure. I think when you're talking top 4, like that is, I want to be able to have pieces up and down the ladder that I can move up and down with, right? But yeah, I don't need to maybe condense it right now. But we appreciate. We're going to talk about draft picks all off season, so stick around, y'all. We will guide you through those tiers for sure. But yeah, if you want to make those conviction bets now, good time to buy in early. Vapad brings in an 8-team start 12, 6 -1 and a 175 tight end premium. It's got a good team here. A lot of quarterback, Achan, Pacheco, Hendo, Rice, Lamb, Olave, Igbuka, Worthy. Yeah, many good picks. Loveland, a mountain of extra picks. He's trying to lock in a playoff spot, while other is not contending, and he made him pay that contender tax. So he gave Lamar Jackson, Malik Neighbors to get Joe Burrow, A.J. Brown, and Christian Watson. Shane, he already pulled the trigger. We just talked about Christian Watson. How do you feel here? Lamar and Malik Neighbors for Joe, A.J. Brown, and Christian Watson.
I hope you win. I mean, that's the move that it is, right? It's a win now move. So I'm not going to I'm not going to say it's a bad move. Malik Neighbors wasn't scoring for you. I don't believe he was, at least. I believe he is out for the season officially. Burrow's been better than Lamar. I know it's a very small sample size, but Burrow's been better than Lamar. He's the QB 12 right now, and that's mostly built off the back of a couple good games earlier in the year. Yes, you lost value on Malik Neighbors. There's no doubt about it. Malik Neighbors is, I don't even know what he is on KTC, but he's probably a top 5, top 6 wide receiver. He is the wide receiver 4. It's probably not going to drop any over the summer. So you lost a ton of value there. You think it'll drop when we hear good news about him?
Could I have just traded Lamar for Burrow?
Probably.
Because I'm looking at it. Look at his receiver 10. It's Xavier Worthy. Like, it's not even a guarantee that like AJ Brown is way better than even him. Well, I know it's an 8-teamer, but
wrong. But yeah,
no, but
AJ Brown's got 4 weeks of top 5 fantasy production.
But look at the sheer number of players that he has. Like we're throwing in Ibuka. I mean, Odunze, unfortunately, is probably. I mean, it's you paid a lot for very short term. Like I'm going for it.
Yeah, I mean that, and Watson is, and this is best ball, right?
No. 8 by 12.
Okay, so I'm going to be sitting.
I mean, Pearsall doesn't even do anything, so he's probably starting Watson and Brown easily.
Yeah, so I'm sitting at Dunze. I'm sitting Purcell. You can't start Worthy; he's useless. Rice Lamb 32 start 12. So I mean, yeah, he probably will. I mean, your wide receiver core has been costing you. I get it, but I prefer making. I don't know if I like splitting Malik for that return. Like I said, man, look, you're trying to win, so I get it. So I'm not going to criticize you, but you definitely lost a gallon of fantasy value.
I mean, dude, he's been jamming in Ibuka, Odunze, Worthy, and yeah, they're not helping a lot. You know what I mean? That's why it feels like they're killing you. But I think most of those guys are pretty good, right? It's just a bad stretch. I mean, sometimes, what did we say the other night on Mannequin Chill, Shane? Sometimes the variance just crushes you so hard, it never reverses in time for you to win anything. What's what it feels like with this team.
Steve-O was never trading Lamar for Burrow straight up. Checks out. Checks out. All right, we got a couple more. We got a couple minutes left here too. All right, Scott, big DS, 12 team, start 10, super flex, PPR, 1.0, tight end premium, and a 0.25 point per carry, 0.25 for first down. All the other bonuses you'd expect in a Diaz league / question. Can't improve his draft position. He's getting Kyler, Scadaboo, Garrett Wilson, and a late 26 first non-DD league, giving Love, Harvey, AJ Brown, Sean Tucker. Can't improve his draft position. He's on the playoff bubble. Counter for a 27 first or a mid 26 first, both. So giving Kyler, Scadaboo, Garrett Wilson, and a late 26 first for Love, Harvey, AJ Brown, and Sean Tucker in a 12 by 10.
I mean, if you just go straight across, it's probably Kyler. Let's just call it Kyler and Scadaboo minimum is what you'd have to pay probably to get Jordan Love. And Shane knows, I have not been able to add a second to Kyler and get a legitimate starting quarterback. So it's probably more like Kyler plus the late first to get Jordan Love. And then obviously Garrett Wilson over AJ Brown by a little bit, but I can live with not getting rid of AJ Brown on a team like this if I'm ready to contend next year. And then I'm giving up Harvey for Scadaboo. Like, it feels like I think he said it with the first sentence. He can't improve his draft position.
Mm-hmm.
Feels like you're giving the other trade a bailout or the other team a bailout at almost every spot here. And all they're having to do is pay a little bit of a tax with that late 26 first. I'd probably counter for the 27 or I'd tweak it a little bit. I like the fact that they are willing to do a big deal like this. I can see how Kyler and Scadaboo and Garrett Wilson help you a little more down the road, but I don't think you're taxing them enough. Just my opinion.
I would need to be motivated to make that move, Diaz, and I think that would at least take a 27 first to really bring me to the party there. Otherwise, I don't really know why I would. I guess why I'd be motivated to pull that trigger. So if it moves your team forward, sure, but I wouldn't be hard. I would be hard pressed to not ask for more on that one there. DDS listener league. Well, yeah. We'll chat. We got a whole offseason full of startups to get through. Shane, 12 team, Superflex, PPR 1.0, tight end premium, start 2 tight ends, start 10 in total in a rebuild. Sent Brissett, got Braylon Allen and a 2027 second, likely mid to late. That's a very nice price to get out on a quarterback that you're not using.
No, and you get another player thrown in there, right? You get Braylon Allen, who could have an expanded role next year, but more importantly, the narrative that is there that he could have an expanded role next year when Brees escapes New York. So I like that deal. You got a player and a pick, and not just like a garbage third round or fourth rounder. So I like it. I like it.
I don't mind like having like an upside, like a guy like Brissett, and bet that he can find a job next year, but that doesn't mean I'm not going to take that deal. Like it's still Braylon Allen in a second for me. And yeah, well, with that, that's all the questions we were going to hit tonight. So we thank everyone for coming out tonight, showing up, showing out, and bringing us all the great trade questions. Good luck in your week 14 matchups, making the playoffs or shedding those points and getting a better pick. We want to thank Exemplar FF, Dunritos, Anthony West, Vapad, Jed Tatiano, Jeffrey Jacobs, Dorf, Mr. Jordan Jackson, Rich Hild, Fire Pokemon Cards, Sean, Big Diaz, Ned, and all of you for tuning in. We are the Dynasty Deal Show. We will see you next week, and we out of this thing. Peace.